Hey guys, Musa here from Quantum Home Improvements and Solutions. Welcome back. And once again, I've got my friend Tony with me.
Hello.
He's a commercial builder. So Tony's got a bit of an issue. He's had some scratches. So what I said to Tony, we can just do a touch up on these instead of having to respray. So I got Tony to go to Auto West and speak to my mate Ryan. Okay, so now the first thing I'm gonna do is actually rub down just inside the scratch only. Be very, very careful not to touch the outside of the paint. This is a wet and dry paper. And it's a 1200. So then we have, where it's scratched, we have some jagged edges and we want to take those jagged edges out so there's a good bond. Now also what I'm doing is taking out any surface rust that might be there. Okay, so now I'm going to use a wax and grease remover and just put a little bit on a microfiber cloth and just wipe that down. Now one thing to note, you need to wipe it off straight away. Okay, now using a very fine brush, I'm going to paint the primer on. Now it will go over the edge of the paint, but we're going to sand that off later. Now we'll give this around half an hour to dry. Okay, so now we've got 1500 paper and I'm going to wrap it around the spacer because I only need a very small area to sand down. I'm going to put it over the edge there and I'm going to just sand that down very gently. This actually was Tony's idea. I know he doesn't look it, but he's a genius. So basically what I'm trying to do is just take the undercoat off the white and that's working perfectly. Tony got Arctic White paint. It's for this Ford and it's a 2-to-1 mix. So 2-part paint and 1 part hardener. Just mix that in really, really well. So now there's 2 ways of doing this. You can either paint the white on and then put a clear coat, or you can just put a hardener in the paint. Now this is a hard color, so there is no metallic in it. If it's a metallic, you really do need to put a clear on top. Now with this, I'm gonna paint this on probably 3 times. Okay, that's done. We'll let this dry and we'll come back and do it again. Okay, so it is dry, but you do have to take in consideration the temperature that you're putting this on. So if it's too cold, let it dry longer. And if it's too warm, do it faster. Just on the 3rd coat, but I think I might do a 4th because I think it needs a bit more building up. Okay, so we've given it 24 hours to dry. Now I'm just using a very small cork board. All I'm doing is taking those edges off, the furring, and just level it out. So one thing you don't do is don't sand with your fingers because they're uneven pressures as your fingers are round. Okay, so now I'm going to hit it with a 2000 paper and get ready for buff and polishing. Okay, there was another scratch just here that didn't penetrate the paint. I'm just going to sand that with a 2000 paper so I can polish that out. Okay, so now I'm going to use Frackler buffing compound. I just do that on low speed. So now I'm just going to polish it with some Auto Glim. And there we go, take the residue off. So Tony, what do you think of that?
I think it looks great, I'm happy with that.
Mate, it's pretty easy to do, eh?
Yeah.
And what a good colour match.
Spot on.
Thanks to the guys from Auto West and Ryan.